Good morning. I'm gonna do my makeup real quick because I need to wash all of my makeup brushes later today. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get ready for the day now instead of later. So let's jump on into it. So I'm using, these are the Lumify drops. I absolutely love these. If you have dry eyes or your eyes get really irritated, bothered, these clear up any redness in your eyes immediately, and it lasts for up to 8 hours. I keep these on subscription with Amazon because I use them so often, probably like every 3 to 4 days, and they work so well. They're also great if you wear a lot of makeup. You can use those at any point during the day and just clear up dry eyes. So put those in first. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. If you're just jumping on, I was saying I need to wash all my makeup brushes today. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready for the day now. And then I'll do all that later. All right. So primer, I'm going to go in with, this is the NYX. It's the face glue. I've used obviously tons of products from NYX over the years and I've always loved them. This is the gripping primer. And I will say, I know that the e.l.f. Hydro Grip Primer is another great one. I tried, two that I tried to see used a lot, like on my For You page or on my timeline. And two of the primers I was seeing most often are the e.l.f. Hydro Grip and the NYX Gripping Glue Primer. And I do think I like this one better. I used I liked the e.l.f. one, but I do think I like this one better. I think it just holds up better, and it does have a little more of that grip to it. If you've ever used the Milk Hydro Grip Primer, that's what the e.l.f. one is supposed to kind of mimic, but I think this one does a better job of it. So I really do like this one, and you don't need a ton of it. It's a small bottle, great to travel with, but yeah, so it's supposed to work for up to 24 hours. I've never left my makeup on for 24 hours, but I am really liking that one. So I try to let that sit for just a minute, and then I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I like to use just a little bit of this for kind of like a backlight glow. Obviously, I'm getting down to having to scrape the sides here, but I'm going to use that and mix it with some of the CC Nude Glow. This has an SPF of 40 in it, which is great, and it's super nice and brightening. Hey, good morning. Thank you for following. So I'll usually take some of this and just do like a smear here, here, and here. And it just gives a really nice glow, even by itself. I can show you what it kind of looks like just by itself. Here it is. So even just on its own, it's not meant to be like a full coverage foundation, but if you wanted something that just gives you a little bit of coverage with a pretty glow, this does work really well. Pricey, but you don't need a lot because it's not meant to be, a full coverage foundation. But you can see it does give you that really pretty glow even just by itself. So generally I don't mix it like that. I mix it with the foundation. So I'm just going to go ahead and add, this is the IT Cosmetics brush as well. And this is a little bit dark for me right now. It's the shade Tan, but mixing it with a little bit of the Hollywood Flawless Filter helps to just kind of even it out a bit. And I always wonder if most people go over their eyes with foundation. I always go over my eyelid, but I don't know if that's like the norm or if most people do that. So let me know. Let me know what you got going on today. It is so nice and cool outside this morning. I took the dog out this morning and oh my gosh, it's gotta be like, Alexa, what's the temperature right now?
Right now, it's 55 degrees Fahrenheit. By the way, you have 2 new notifications. When you see the yellow light ring on your device, it means you have a notification or message. Just say, read my notifications.
But anyway, yeah, super nice and cool this morning, which made me so happy. So that is the, let me know if you can see me okay. I hope it's not too dark in here. I can open these blinds a little bit. Just sometimes with the big overhead light, it kind of makes the lighting look a little wonky. So let me know if this maybe helps a little bit. Does it feel like a film on the face? The foundation? No, like it doesn't feel heavy at all. Like I would say if you've ever used the Estee Lauder Double Wear, to me, that feels like the thickest. I do have it and it's a great foundation, but to me, that feels very heavy and filmy. So I really only will use that one for like, if I need a heavy coverage for whatever reason, or, you know, I want it to look really show up in photos or something. But that one to me feels very heavy. If you've ever used that and you know how that feels, this feels like a third of that. So it doesn't feel heavy at all or like filmy. No, because I can't stand that feeling. I am a big, which I don't know why I do this. I don't know if it's like an anxiety thing or it's just a habit, but I touch my face and my hair a lot. It's something I am trying to be more aware of. But if it felt like that, it would be a huge problem because I would be constantly wiping makeup away. These are the little beauty blenders I use. I've used these forever. And even though they don't look very clean, they're pretty clean. They're just old. I need to get some new ones. And I'm going to use some of the Double Duty Shape Tape. I use the shade 275, which is light medium sand. I've bounced around to other concealers, but I do find myself, this is the one I've definitely repurchased the most and kind of find myself coming back to. Just to brighten up the under eyes. And sometimes I'll just take a little bit of setting spray and mist my beauty blender just to make it a little bit damp. And then I'll just go right up under. And, you know, I don't always feel like I need to brighten my under eye, but I think it's just a habit at this point. I've done my makeup like this for so long. But there will be days where I don't use concealer, but I'd say, you know, 90% of the time I do my makeup, I do use it. And I kind of like to just press that in instead of like smearing it out. I kind of like to just gently press it in. Thank you for following. Somebody let me know. I know there's not probably a ton of people with sound on because they're probably watching this, you know, quietly in bed or at the office or wherever. But if you do have your sound on, let me know if you can see everything okay, like if the lighting's okay. I just don't want it to be dark on your end. But I did link my sponges, and then here is the Tarte Shape Tape. I'm going to show you these new little Freck pens I got. I know not everybody loves the like faux freckle trend, but I like it from time to time. And the ones I was using before are good, but I found them a little harder to blend and look more natural. So I got these, and they come in a set of 2. So you get a darker color and a lighter color. And I do feel that these are a little easier to blend. They look a little more natural. And then I like that they give you the 2 different colors. So you have this kind of lighter brown. And it has a really fine tip. So I'm just gonna go in. Again, if you don't like, freckles, I totally get it. I am someone who thinks they're really cute. And isn't it funny how it's like when you have a lot of freckles, you're like, oh, I can't stand my freckles. And then I used to have a lot more than I do. I feel like you don't see them as much anymore, probably just from having like peels and stuff over the years. So they come with those 2 colors for $7.99, and I just kind of mix the 2 and then take just the pad of your finger and start to blend them out. I've also found that doing it whenever I just have the foundation on, they tend to melt into that a little better. See how they just kind of melt in and whoop, that might have been bad. Instead of sitting right on top of the makeup with the foundation still tacky, you just kind of melt in there. And then I'll do my setting powder and just put a little over those. But again, I like them. I know that's not everybody's thing. While that kind of sits for just a second, I'm going to use this brow pencil. Is not on Amazon. It is from the brand Red Aspen. And you can get it. I have a link in my bio on Instagram. But the Benefit pencil is pretty similar. However, I do feel like this one just gives the best color match for me. And I have a hard time finding my exact shade that I like with most brow pencils. A lot of times with lighter blonde, I have a lot of blonde, a lot of red, a lot of like silvery in my hair. And a lot of brassy blonde. So a lot of times they just come off too ashy or else way too red. And this is just the best color for me that I like. So I usually use that, and then I go in with another product in a minute. All right, these must have for under eye powder in my opinion. Are we sending another lamb to the graveyard? You know you're not supposed to do that. No, you can't eat that. Why'd you do that to Lammy? Huh? You love Lammy. Why'd you do that to him? Okay. Another lamb back to the graveyard. Okay, so I'm going to use the one size. This is the Ultra Pink. And one of these little doodads. I love these. They're perfect for under eye powder. And just use some under my under eye, but then I'm going to use this to set the rest of my face instead of doing a heavier pressed powder. So I like to use that right under, and I just love the way that you can get right up under the eye. Get right in between my brows. And you get 8 of these for under $5. So I'm just taking, this does open and you can get, you know, a lot more from underneath there, but there's quite a bit just sitting on the top. So I'm just kind of using what's left there. And then I'm just gonna take my little puff and use that to kind of set the rest of my face. And it's like instantly mattified, excuse me, instantly mattified. All right, we're gonna take a little bit out of here. You get a ton of powder with this though, ton. The one size is right here. And you get, I mean, it is packed with powder. And I've had this for quite a while. I also like to bring some down onto my, again, I know everybody does their makeup different. I'm a firm believer there's not like a right or wrong way. This is just how I do mine. If I want a heavier look, I will use a shaded press powder or loose powder. Like I love this one from Dior. It's the cushion powder. So when you open it, it's a loose powder. And it has kind of this like spongy back. So when you use it, it just puffs more up. So I really love that as far as a loose powder. And then when I do use a pressed, I use the Charlotte Tilbury, the shade medium airbrush finish. And that is on its ready to go in the trash. But that's the one I've repurchased the most as far as a pressed powder. I tend to gravitate towards that or setting powder like this more than a loose powder. I don't know why, it's just a habit. And I've been on this whole like, I want to try to finish up the products I have. So I knew that Charlotte Tilbury was getting towards the end. So now I'll probably just use my setting powder and loose powder until I use up those. This is the blush I'm gonna use. It is the Benefit Cosmetics Willa. I was making sure it was the right one. So I wasn't sure if I was gonna love this one, so I bought the mini size of it, but I do really, really like it. It's a beautiful color. And I'm gonna take, I did link a bunch of brushes. If you scroll towards the end, you'll be able to see it. But I love this one for blush. It's just big and fluffy, kind of helps distribute it without it looking like it's just pushed in one place. And just put that up on top of my cheeks, and then I like to kind of bring it over my nose just so it flows a little more. And then I always bring my blush and my bronzer just over my eyelids because I don't wear eyeshadow hardly ever. And then I'll take kind of what's left and just put it up on my forehead and down on my chin so everything kind of flows together. But you can see it's not tracking a lot up here or down here. Just a hint of it, and the majority of it is right on my cheeks and my nose where I want it. And bronzer, I use the Hoola. I've been using this one for a while and I do love it. I use the shade Medium Deep. And I'm just gonna take this right on top of my cheekbones, kind of at an angle. And then I bring it kind of up towards my temple. And then I definitely like to take some here and here. Just so, again, there's kind of like a flow of color. And hear me out, I am no makeup artist. I am not a professional with makeup. And then I'll blend it in circles just down on my chin and my neck. Take a bit here on top of my lids. And then I just go kind of down the sides of my nose. And if you want your lips to kind of have the illusion of looking a little fuller, you can pop some right under your bottom lip. And it'll create this little shadow. See how it just kind of amplifies your bottom lip and kind of gives it the illusion of looking a little fuller. When I do my bronzer, I kind of think of it as a 3, like this. All right. What do we have next? Oh, the Gimme Brow. That's what I'm going to use on top of my brow pencil. I love the Gimme Brow, and I love the Super Lock Brow Glue. These are both great. The Gimme Brow has a little tint of color to it. The Brow Lock does not. But today I use shade 3 in this. And I kind of like to wipe any excess right there. And then I take it this way first and kind of brush all the hair up. And then kind of brush them back down. I don't know that there's really a rhyme or reason why I do that. Again, it's just kind of a habit. It's almost like just a little tinted hair gel for your brows. A lot of these are on sale too via Amazon. Now the fun part, eyelashes. Take my curler. Oh, hi Melissa, Diana, and Meg. Thank you all so much for following. And good morning. So I like to give them a good curl. And then I'm going to use, I have the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara in black and brown. Now I use the brown more than I use the black, but I am getting pretty low on this one. So I'm trying to save it just because I like that one for going out a lot more, or like when I'm going, I have somewhere fancy to go. I wouldn't even say fancy. I don't go anywhere fancy, but shh. What are you growling at? It's the cats, baby, look. Nobody's here. Go get them. So, use the black in this. You can see it just gives you so much length and volume. I do use Grande Lash as well. I should have put that on here, but I do use that for lash growth. If you click any of these links, it'll take you, where you can purchase it, but then, if you don't want that specific product, you can type Grande Lash in if you're trying to, well, I don't know what it looks like on your end. You might just be able to put it in your search bar, but yeah, I love this mascara. The brown is just really pretty for fall, but we're using up the black today. And then I just do a little, like the tiniest little touch on my bottom lashes. And what a difference lashes make, right? Like, wow. I definitely like a little bit of a thicker look on my lashes. You don't have to keep stacking it like I do, but I like my lashes a little thicker, so I use quite a bit of mascara. The Cream Glide liners, I'm really impressed by these from e.l.f. They are very inexpensive, $2. And they really do glide on so well. So I'm going to use the shade Mauve Aside. I have this one, and this one. Let's see. So I have Truth or Bear. Where is the name on this one? That's weird. Huh. I don't know. Let's see. That is Mauve Aside, and this is Truth or Dare. Just so you can kind of see. So the bottom one is the mauve. This one is the Truth or Dare. So this one has a little more of like an orangey undertint, but I tend to gravitate more towards like the rosy mauves. So I just need to sharpen this one a smidge. And they really are super creamy. And they just glide on like butter. I really like these. And I can't believe they're so inexpensive. That's so pretty. $2. And then this is a glossy lip stain trio. I added this because I am obsessed with this lip glossy stain right now. It is the Berry Queen, and you do get that in this bundle. You can also just buy this one individually, but look how, like, so gorgeous. Reminds me of like grape jelly. But this has been my go-to lately, and I think this is gonna be my like main fall lip. Super long lasting. And it's not an overwhelming amount of color. So you can build on it if you want. But I love this. I just love this color. I think it's so beautiful. Such a pretty color for the fall too. And again, you can build on it. So if you want it, you know, a little more pronounced, a little darker, you can add more. But you can see how beautiful it is just even with the one coat. I like it anyway. Then highlighter, Benefit Tickle. I used my friend had this when we were on a trip one time, and I used it and I was like, oh my God, that's gorge. So this is, it's so pretty. And you don't need a ton. I like to put some just on the end of my nose, a little on my Cupid's bow. And then when I put it on my cheeks, instead of a brush, I like to use the pad of my fingers just because I don't like a super dark, or not dark, like a super shiny highlight. So I feel like the oils in my fingers just kind of help to tone that down a little bit and make it a little more like melty, if that makes sense. So I just put it right on top of my cheekbone. Like that. And then I'm gonna use the Benefit Pore Professional Super Setter Spray. Yeah, this is 40. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, 48% off right now. And then if you keep scrolling, I linked a couple of the brushes that I used. This is the, this is not, I was looking for my It Cosmetic brush, and I guess I linked a dupe for it, but looks almost exactly the same. And it probably works almost exactly the same for foundation. And then the Real Techniques bundle, that's the one that has that blush brush in it. I have a couple of, I think I have that exact set, actually. I just have a lot of makeup brushes. They are getting their bath today. 35% off. And then I linked this one because I keep looking at this one on there. They look just like the Hourglass brushes. So I don't know. I'll probably use, most of my brushes till the end of the year, but it is going to be time. I've had a lot of these brushes for close to 10 years, so might be time to get some new ones soon. But yeah, so quick little makeup. Ready for the day. And I feel like that's a pretty, easy-ish routine. I don't do anything super fancy, no like crazy eyeliner, eyeshadow. I love that look, on other people, but it's just not something I like really excel at. So hopefully this was a little more like doable and able to copy. But if you're following me, you can come back to this video anytime, of course, and rewatch it. I would love if you followed me because you'll get notified in the future when I go live. I also share lots of great daily deals, and you can find me on Instagram too, spelled exactly how it sounds. Hi there, thank you so much for following. And yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. And I'm gonna go make some breakfast and get this day going. Have a great day.